All right, good morning. Welcome back here to Trader Minute. Great to have you aboard. Looks like we have audio up and rolling 100% now. Waiting for the thumbs up here. Okay, good deal. All right. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Market off to an interesting start here this morning. We have, we had a few fireworks on Friday, right, where the S&P, dropped on report that, hey, you know what, U.S. investment in China it might diminish, and how is that going to affect the ADRs and JD.com and Alibaba and whatnot. And we saw the market fall from up here at around 29.85 down here to 29.46. I mean, that's a 40-point drop, right? But again, it's kind of pseudo news, not real news. It's that news factor that, nothing really happens. It was reported that something could happen, right? And then this weekend, the Treasury came out and said that, well, they're not looking to do it, at least for now. Right, so you get this hubbub, right? This could happen, but nothing's really happening, and that's been a big part of the news cycle of late, where it's reports of stuff that could happen, but nothing really happening. And that is one of the loops that the market's caught in, and it's one of the big reasons why we don't see the market going anywhere. In fact, if I zoom this out to a 1-hour chart, you can see that you can see here that we are looking at a market that for over a month now has just gone nowhere. It's traded within about a 2% range, pretty tight. It's had news events that have chopped it up and chopped it down, but no real resolution to any of the news events. It's not like the Democrats are going to let off on U.S. President Trump, and it's not like President Trump's going to let off on the trade war, and it's not like Brexit's going anywhere, and it's not like Iran's going anywhere. It is just one of those things where the global markets are kind of caught up in just some of the same rehash of the same stuff. Sure, it gets a little bit of a different skin every once in a while, but not really. Not really there. So anyway, that's where the market's set for the challenge. Have a position here on Home Depot, down a little bit on it here this morning. Just updated the price. It's probably looking at the stock, it's probably dropped 10 cents. Okay, so down about $80 here on it. And that's what I'd expect for a stock that isn't moving. And Home Depot, it sold off $1 after I got in. Bounced up a little bit, on Friday, but the market dropped it right on back down. Held up really well relative to the market. For the market down the way it was. But then this morning it's up a little bit. Up about 70 cents. So nothing too dramatic. I did write this morning in the note I'd like to see it break above Friday's high. That'd be a good sign that it's off and ready to roll. And we're not seeing that here so far this morning. So nothing to adjust, nothing to do anything with here. We're not on any of our stop levels, not on any of our time stops. So nothing to adjust here with Home Depot. Now, there are no new signals on the board here this morning, but there are some things that are interesting and could be by this afternoon. Apple has an upside 3-7 crossover here on it today. Now, this was an upgrade here, and it wasn't so much an upgrade as a price target raise here from JP Morgan on Apple. But where I stand on Apple, and I'm very bullish on Apple and what they're doing. It's not the best value in the world, but it may be one of the safest stocks in the world in terms of just if things kind of go awry, how is Apple going to react? It will sell off with trade war, disaster, but it is very likely to bounce back as the cash cow that it has become with the App Store is just monstrous. And so, anyway, Apple could be by the close of the market today. Chipotle Mexican Grill, I thought had a chance to signal this morning, but it didn't, but does have a fresh 3-7 crossover. We'll see where the consolidation risk component looks this afternoon. But Chipotle, and then Walgreens, or Walgreens Boots Alliance here has that nice nice little 3-7 crossover action on it here. Now, this had that 3-7 crossover action on it on Thursday morning, had it Friday morning. It didn't hold up either of those mornings. We'll see if it holds up this morning. I suspect that it will, just given the given its break above Thursday and Friday's highs. So we'll kind of see how that sets up here into the close. But three very strong candidates for challenge trades going into the close here today in the afternoon session. Because the algorithm, the morning, it's a lot tighter in terms of that consolidation risk because of whipsaw risk there. They aren't signaling, but there are three that I do suspect if it were the afternoon session would be easily triggering. Won't be able to trade all three if all three trigger. Just simply won't be able to trade them, with the cash available. So we'll have to go through the sorting methods, in that case, right? All right, so that's challenge. Again, running with Home Depot, we'll be looking at some of these upside crossovers here into the close. If we look at the upside crossovers that are out there, we have Kohl's and Las Vegas Sands joining Apple, Chipotle, and Walgreens, but neither are close to a trigger there with how they are. And then 3-7 bearish crossovers, downside crossovers, there are none out in the market, or I should say out on our watch list here this morning. Okay, so easy decisions to make, and off and rolling there. All right. Now, wanted to answer a question that Michelle forwarded me on the concept of trend, and I use this phrase, survive the chop, thrive in the trend. So what is trend, right? What is trend? And depending on how you're trading, trend can be defined, differently. But as we developed the algorithm and looked at the best way to find stocks that would fit the challenge methodology, right? And for the challenge to really work, we need stocks that are going to move. We need, movements that are significant. And, the way we look and define a trend is very easy. Trends are moves that happen over multiple days or weeks that move beyond the average true range. Okay, so in this case of something like a Home Depot, the average true range right now is 362. Okay, have we moved 362 from the entry? No, we haven't had a trend. Right? There's no trend here. There's nothing, no trend that has happened here just yet. Now, we have signals and signs that a trend is starting to emerge, right? But as it sits right now, no trend, right? And what we're looking for is stocks that have a propensity or high chance of moving to average true ranges, right? And that is a trend, right? This right here is a trend. Okay, here on Home Depot. This down drop right here, yeah, we could define it as a trend. But another way we look at trend and really started to look at it wasn't so much as, well, does it make that ultimate move, but does it create lower lows? Lower closing lows, higher, closing highs, right? Higher highs, higher lows, those types of things when it comes to trend. And so, for the algorithm, really it's looking for those average true range moves. And if we go and we look at something like the market and we go, well, is the market trending? If we go by that definition of average true range, we have an average true range of 3. Okay, that's 30 points here on the SPY. Are we getting that type of move? Well, you know what? We've had from the top to the low. Yeah, we've had a three move, right? That has come in. But we haven't had consistent lower lows, consistent higher highs, or consistent closing lows, come into play. A lot of the movement has been, okay, it happens on one or two chops, a chop down or chop up. You even take a look at this move back here in May. We started the last challenge on May 9th, and it was a really kind of a tricky time period for it because we were seeing gaps down, but the market wasn't selling off. And then it would rally, gap down. Most of the losses happened on gaps down. It was a time where the gaps were pushing the market lower, but the actual pressure in the market was buy side. It was more buy pressure. We were seeing stocks, open and go higher on most days rather than open and go lower most days. And then we got into this couple-day period right here as the market exhausted, and we saw that switch pretty quickly. But right now, we're not even in any of that, right? We're just simply in this period of what I would equate April to be. In some regards, though, April had a little bit more of a trend, but just really nothing, kick-starting the market here. And it's not unusual. This is very normal. Markets, they trend and consolidate. And if we look year over year, we tend to see markets trending about 40% of the time, 30 to 40% of the time, depending on the year, and consolidating 60 to 70% of the time, right? So, now stocks, they're a little bit different. But, in terms of the overall market, that's the tendency that we see. So, however you want to define trend, but for us, trend defined by those average true range moves and, looking for those in individual stocks. Thanks for hopping on. Have yourselves a fantastic day. I'll be back on with you here this afternoon, and we'll talk to you then. Take care.